Welcome. What is going on, Vikings fans? Welcome to Purple and Gold Bars. We are live with you today, hanging out, going over a few things. We're going to be doing a little bit of a hot take review. We're going to celebrate some good news, as well as let you guys know some information that old Seeps over at Chat Now filled me in earlier today that you may like to know if you've missed. So thanks for joining me today, guys. And yeah, let me get the show on the road. Where's my notes? My notes. My notes. Okay. All right. So first and foremost, I want to shout out Mr. Adam Thielen wearing the number 19. Mr. Thielen today. Welcome back, Mr. Thielen. I am so excited to have you back on this team. You are definitely by far one of, if not my favorite, undrafted kind of story that I've ever heard. Yeah. So thank you so much for being back on the team. I really love having you back. Other news. Freaking old Patrick Seatman over at Chat Now was talking about I caught his video from earlier today, and apparently one of Caleb Williams' teammates was airing out some dirty laundry on a podcast this week. So highlighting how Caleb has been having some struggles during this offseason. So would that bode well for us week one going into this week's the first game of the season? Maybe things are a little bit not all on the right page, you could say. So advantage Vikings. I think the roster and skill level, I think that gives us the advantage anyway. So I don't think that's going to really turn the tide on a one game, but it is what it is, and that's what I've heard. So I wanted to again welcome back Mr. Adam Thielen. He was signed yesterday or traded yesterday from the Carolina Panthers, and so I'm excited. And let's get right on to the next thing on the agenda. I want to talk about this I didn't catch this yesterday because I was working and had some other stuff on the go. But had I seen this yesterday right after, I probably would have gone live as soon as the show was over. Maybe even if the segment had ended, had I caught it live. But the blasphemy in this section. We're gonna have ourselves a good laugh here at the idiocy that is Nick Wright and everything that comes out of his mouth. Right. So without further ado, let me move this on over here so I can control this as full screen that. So this is but I don't need to preface this. Just basically, these guys give their prediction on the NFC North, and we start with the most laughable, Mr. Nick Wright.
At number 4, with what could be historic drop in win total. Wow. The Minnesota Vikings. Wow.
Nick Wright, you're a moron. I want to say so much more. I literally could go on a rant forever. So I'm just going to let you keep fucking open your mouth and making yourself look stupid, because it's unbelievable how outrageous this take is.
And that's it's
shocking.
What, K-Dub?
Just shocking.
What's shocking?
I don't think you mean. Yeah, you go from 14 wins, say, is what I say. Move on.
Fair. I understand your.
Kevin O'Connell's a genius.
So here is.
Let's hear it.
Just throw it up. Just throw it up to Justin. Anybody can do it. It's like Jeremiah Smith, like Greg would say, just throw it up. Who can't do it? Sam Darnold threw 4,300 yards.
Kevin Wildes is making my case. I don't even have to say anything like that, but I wasn't even going to bring this stuff up. It's just man, I'd like to spend like 5 minutes inside Nick Wright's brain just to kind of see how fucking demented he truly is, because it's unbelievable how stupid this take is. But we'll let him go. We'll let Kevin Wilds, I think, defends us a little bit here. But
Welcome to Luxury Casino.
oh my gosh, fucking ads. Let's see here.
Vikings finish in fourth place, even if they had run it back with Sam Darnold. It is more about, yeah, it's okay. Don't worry about it. I was going to let you cook there, buddy. It's more about the overall quality, in my opinion, of the division. It's about that last year, while special, didn't necessarily feel sustainable. And I do personally, I support almost across the board trying to take a big swing on a young quarterback if you think you're capped. Yeah. But I also think typically that involves growing pains and a bit of a step back, particularly a quarterback as young as JJ was, as inexperienced, if you will, coming out of college as far as lack of attempts, and then who missed all of last year. So I don't think it's necessary.
All right, so this idiot said first, strength of division. We're going to get to that a little bit later in my NFC North prediction here. I got I thought about it. I sat down. So it was taking me a little bit longer. It kept delaying the start time today because I was working on some slides for the NFC North prediction that I got after this this hot take review that we're doing on the spot. But holy moly, the division is not going to be as difficult as it was last year because I'll explain it in my breakdown. No, I'm not going to go. I'll go on a crazy rant. But so we'll move on from the division. And then he said, what was it again?
You think you're capped.
Move on. Son, fourth place.
So
it is more about. Yeah, it's okay. Don't worry about it.
So
Quality, in my opinion, of the division.
Division.
About that last year.
Oh yeah, he said last year. Although we had so many wins, it didn't feel sustainable. What maybe he's trying to say that it was gimme or fluky or all luck. You know what, Nick Wright? Regardless of whether any fan or any analyst or anybody wants to admit it, luck plays a factor in all sports, in all games of chance, things of that nature. So some teams get the lucky breaks, some teams don't. I remember not too long ago where we had so many fucking injuries on the O-line that we started like 13 different or 14 different starting O-line combinations. I think that was the year after we drafted or the year before we drafted Darius. Either way, it was a fucking shit show. And you think, oh, the bad luck. Oh, if we hadn't had so many injuries and if they played well, we would have probably won the Super Bowl. That's why you're fucking brain dead, bro. Oh my God. I'm going to fucking crash out on Nick Wright in a moment because this is unfucking believable. But anyways, so regardless of if some situations, luck or whatever, maybe what the saying says, luck favors the prepared. I definitely have that fucking saying running through my head right now. And maybe whenever we were in bad situations in games that in Nick's mind we should have lost, maybe Coach O'Connell and Brian Flores had these guys prepared for so many different situations that they overcame the adversity that they had. Yeah, some of it might be luck, some of it might be preparation, but to take away the strength of this roster, which let's not forget, with Sam Darnold, everybody was saying we weren't even going to win. We'd be lucky to win 3 games. Okay, so in the entire fucking time, it was all about how Sam Darnold's gonna fucking be a pumpkin and he's nothing special. He's a fucking bust, this and that. So what is it, Nick? Is it the strength of roster that carried a bum quarterback to 14 wins, or was it a fucking a superstar quarterback that fucking led a team of degenerates last year? Because it sure as hell wasn't the latter, or whatever. You know what I mean? Definitely wasn't a fucking struggling team with a fucking superstar quarterback that we were paying 30 million. Sam Darnold wasn't that, right? He had to prove it. He basically had the same expectations that JJ McCarthy had, and we as an organization, as the Vikings organization, were 1,000% comfortable with him at quarterback, which goes to show that they were that confident in every piece around him. And if Sam Darnold, an above average quarterback, a slightly above average, or a slightly above mediocre, whatever you want to say, regardless of what we've seen through his progression, he's doesn't have the potential that JJ McCarthy has, and he's in no different a situation. So the team, just like last year, is going to have a stronger O-line and do a lot better of a job, barring any injuries, of course. And what's going to happen? They're going to do an incredible job of keeping the pocket clean and giving him as much time as he needs to make his initial whatever read or whatever progression or whatever Coach O'Connell has him doing in preparation and actually trying to execute in every single game in order to progress his development, whatever that is. This O-line is going to give him all that time that he needs to be able to do it. On top of the fact that he's got a generational talent on one side, he's got old faithful Adam Thielen on the other side. We've got Hawkinson, old safety blanket, not to mention when Jordan Addison come back, one of the most dynamic number 2, borderline number 1 receivers that the NFL has right now, a young superstar in the making. Then we have a backfield that most teams would dream of having. I don't care. I watched enough of Jordan Mason last year to know that this man can fall down for like 7 yards. It's unreal. Like, there's so in our game alone, there were so many times I'm like, oh, he's so down. That's maybe a 1 or 2 yard, and he got somehow like 6 yards. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Let's tackle people. But you know, I'm ranting. Like I said, I wasn't to, but let's go back to this stupid prediction of Nick Wright. So the 2 points that he had, the strength of the division, and then our fluky or our not sustainable season. Okay, let's hear this bullshit out.
While special didn't necessarily feel sustainable, and I do personally, I support almost across the board trying to take a big swing on a young quarterback if you think you're capped. Yeah. But I also think typically that involves growing pains and a bit of a step back, particularly a quarterback as young as JJ was, as inexperienced, if you will, coming out of college as far as lack of attempts.
Now, Nick Wright, that only happens with scrub-ass teams like the team that you predicted to go to the fucking Super Bowl last year. A team that had fucking no experience, no cohesion, with a fucking defensive-minded quarterback returning when everybody fucking said that they should have replaced them to fit a fucking a bona fide top-tier prospect in Caleb Williams. What do you mean? A team like that, yeah, is going to struggle, is going to have growing pains. That's why you're fucking eating your words and saying, oh, a team's going to... Because that's what happened to your fucking Chicago Bears, and you thought you overestimated everything and you underestimated the Vikings. And the truth of the matter is the strength of the Vikings roster is what propelled us through the season. And that's exactly what's going to happen this year, you fucking moron.
And then who missed all of last year. So I don't think it's necessarily the wrong move, but I think this year they take a step back. Here's where I think people will be surprised.
Oh, Tell us. I want to know how we're going to be surprised, Nick, right? You fucking boner. Let me guess. The Bears going to the Super Bowl.
And missing the postseason. The Green Bay Packers.
Oof.
So I
knew it was a Jane.
Greg is bothered by it.
What?
Okay.
Listen, I like the receiver they got in Matthew Golden. I think they might finally have a number one receiver. I am not as big of a believer in the Packers defense as some of my friends in the analytics community. And this is where I'll tread lightly. Jordan Love is still in the we'll see part of the NFL hierarchy.
Probably.
Whoa, Nick Wright. Wait. You're the dumbass that was saying that he was a Super Bowl caliber quarterback last season and going into last season. I distinctly remember you and other idiots in the mainstream media telling us over and over that Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers were Super Bowl contenders. We all saw what happened last year. So I don't know what happened this year. All of a sudden you came to your fucking minds. You fucking hypocrite. Like, no. Okay. Let's go.
To me, I think that very talented, but we'll see. And last year got thrown off by an early injury. This year he's already had thumb surgery. I know it's not throwing hand, but I still don't love the missing part of the preseason because you have surgery on your hand, even if it's not your throwing.
Man, this guy needs every fucking excuse in the book. Oh, it's the fucking injury. It's every reason to why you just can't be like, hey, you know what? Last year I might have drank the Kool-Aid a little bit, and I fucking was saying that fucking Jordan Love was a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. And now this year I realize after my stupidity and some injuries last year and his performance that we gotta see. How about you say that instead?
And now, am I going to do it again? Am I going to just all of a sudden just be like, you know what, the Bears?
No way.
No, I don't think so.
In the playoffs.
He's going to fucking do it again.
But not able to win the division. The Chicago Bears. So I think the Lions have graduated to a place of regular season respect. That division, even though, again, the Vikings tested them last year, that division is theirs until proven otherwise. I think that
that says it all right there, how fucking stupid he is. So let's fast forward here.
Your online store is getting traffic, but no sales. Or you're struggling to optimize
you guys
conversion
noticed
rates.
that recently?
That guy sure threw for a bunch of y'all.
Hold on a second. Here we go. So this is Nick's, according to Nick Wright, this is the NFC North. Fucking blasphemy. So now that we have this on record and we can go back to this as many times as we want, I'm going to take a still shot of this because this man's stupid, okay? Oh my God, man. How do you do this job? See, you know what always fascinates me, people. I'm talking to my fucking okay. So you know what fascinates me? It always fascinates me. I think the textbook definition is like cognitive dissonance, where there are times where Nick Wright analyzes things and he kind of makes sense and he points out some valid points, and you're like, huh, that was surprisingly like objective. Like how. Wow, that's kind of weird coming out of Nick Wright. You know, it's usually about two teams that he doesn't have any stake in, right? As long as not Patrick Mahomes and as long as not in a division like ours. If it's like the freaking, I don't know, Panthers and fucking whoever, you know what I mean? Something like that nobody cares. He'll be objective, right? But then in situations like this, when you really take like 5 minutes and look into the NFC North a little further, you would come to drastically different outcomes than this. Like you'd come to so many different conclusions is what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry. Oh, he makes me so fucking mad. Okay. Now, this is where I thought the segment was going to get freaking good. And I thought, okay, everybody else is going to go. So I think, oh yeah, I stopped at Brew. So this is where I thought Brew's going to freaking come in with some common sense, because normally he fucking comes in with the common sense, right? So we got a little bit of pushback from Greg Jennings. Let me find the spot where
saying the Packers are going to go 9.
Right
here. This is Chris Broussard's prediction. Let me see here. So he goes
to finish last in what is a monster division, and that will be the Minnesota Vikings. I'm sorry, Wilds. I know
this is where I almost lost my shit.
Now, Sam Darnold, it just helps it. But look, I think JJ McCarthy can have a nice career, but like Nick said, we didn't see him throw it a lot at Michigan. And for him to step in with a team that won 14 games last year, I just think there's a lot of pressure on him, and he's going to have some growing pains. So I got Minnesota. And look, I kind of hate to do it with Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores, but a couple years ago they were 7-10 too. I mean,
when fucking Kirk snapped his fucking Achilles. Let's move forward. I'll save you guys the dribble. Let's move forward. Because right off the bat, it just shows to you the lack of preparation. It's like in this segment. Oh, where is it? Oh, wait, let's go back. So, because you can infer with these three. So, Brew is a dumbass. He puts the Packers first, then the Lions, then the Bears, and then the Vikings, and puts that every team except for the Vikings are going to make the playoffs, despite arguably having the best roster in the fucking division. Let's be real. Outside of outside of Jefferson, there's one generational talent. Aiden Hutchinson is a generational talent. Which generational talent do they have on the Packers? Hold on. It'll come to me. Hold on. Who in the fucking Bears organization is a fucking generational talent? Hold on. Yeah. 2 teams have generational talents. Okay. Outside of that, which coincidentally, both of those teams on paper have the best 2 rosters in the division. Can you fucking believe that? And yet you're going to put, and then you're going to put the team. Oh my goodness. This is a good segue. Let's move on. We're going to move on because this is ridiculous. We are going to move on. So this is the NFC North as it is right now, right? Unranked as per purple and gold bars, okay? Now, how are we going to do this? Because I have my standing prediction as well as my record prediction for each team in this division, accounting for all the wins, losses amongst themselves. So nothing where like you can't do the math on it. I definitely that took a while to make sure I didn't have any fucking overlapping W's where they should have been losses after I counted for all their games. But anyways, I digress. Through strength of roster, you would think just naturally, if you go by last year's standards, you go Lions, Vikings, Packers, and Bears, just by the way that the chips fell last year, right? The performance, right, neck and neck, was the Lions as well as the Vikings. You can't deny that. The reason why we excelled as much as we did was because of our coaching and because of our roster. And what makes me 1,000% confident of that is because right in the middle of the season, our fucking star left tackle. Oh, I think it's too early to call Christian Darrisaw a generational talent, but maybe in like 2 or 3 years, we might be able to consider him that, right? But as of right now, he's just a fucking incredibly fucking awesome star left tackle, right? So he goes down. What does the team do? Where most teams with fucking shitty rosters do? They fucking implode. What did our Vikings do? We fucking made shit work. Kwesi up in the fucking box, made some moves. We brought in a fucking tackle. We made the best of what we could and came out with 14 fucking wins. That wasn't fucking luck. That was hard fucking work from Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, KOC, Sam Darnold, all of the offensive pieces, Justin Jefferson, because we all know how fucking dialed in he is, because he wanted to fucking be better than Cooper Kupp after he saw what he did in his Triple Crown year or whatever it's called, right? Because famously, when Kevin O'Connell was fucking brought onto the team, Justin Jefferson's first question was, tell me how Cooper Kupp is able to do what he does. And KOC said to him, the reason that fucking Cooper Kupp can do what he does is because he knows literally every fucking route for every position on the field, memorized, so we can move him to wherever the fuck we need to based on the opponent. And he knows the play without having to freaking do that. Which said it took a lot of work for the rest of the receiving core to make it work, because they also had to be flexible for when he moved around. So it was a team effort, not just Justin Jefferson. He was the generational talent, but it was the minds in the quarterback room and in the offensive room. And Kevin O'Connell brought that to Minnesota. That's why Justin Jefferson has excelled to where he's at right now. Why Jordan Addison is excelling. Why we have such a dynamic offense. So, those are just some of the incredible things that freaking the Minnesota Vikings do that discredit this narrative of, oh, we have a freaking fluky team where it was wishy-washy. It's unsustainable, because what happened during the season wasn't just, oh, we'll just throw in the backup in there and holy shit, our backup that we drafted 3 years ago is actually fucking playing good and fucking wow. And it was just straight fucking luck that we just happened. No. Kwesi made some fucking moves. KOC fucking worked his ass off. That offensive line worked their ass off to integrate fucking what's his face. I forget his name now, from the fucking Jaguars, right? So that is what leads me to know that this roster is one of the best in the NFL and, in my opinion, the best in the NFC North. When we look at the Green Bay Packers, right? If you look at them objectively, they have a lot of great pieces that that when they work well together, they can be very dangerous. But they're reliant, a couple of those cogs in the machine that they've built the Packers are very reliant into just a couple of those cogs. Because if you take Jordan Love out, if you take certain pieces off this defense, things like that, their whole thing falls apart, right? They don't have the backup schemes. They don't have like Brian Flores being like, yeah, well, we'll just throw Dallas Turner. We'll just throw fucking this fucking Patrick Jones. We'll just throw all these guys in there that fucking underperformed everywhere else, and they fucking play the system and they overperform within the system, right? So that's what leads me to know that this is why the Vikings are so much better than the Packers. Then we look at the Detroit fucking Lions. Yes, on paper, they rival the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are up there and fucking in my opinion, they're the best, but the Lions are nipping on their butts. You know, the thing that really gets me with the Detroit Lions, though, is that they've been very, very comfortable for the past how many years now? They haven't had any change in their quarterbacks room, from their offensive coordinator, from the defensive coordinator. Everything has been stable for the Detroit Lions for a lot of years now. So that's why their O-line at times looks so godly. And I'm not going to deny that. I've seen the clips and the highlights when it seems like they have eyes in the back of their head, or they just have this radar or intuition that they need to move somewhere. They fucking are there and they just do it effortlessly. I get that. But a lot of that is preparation and the fact that they've been in the system and they trust each other and they know everything in and out under the verbiage and everything that they've been doing for the last how many years. Right? So we got all that being said about Detroit, but all of that is basically gone this year. They have the same head coach, yes, we'll give them that, but they're bringing in a new offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator, right? So everything's going to be different. All the verbiage is going to be different. The philosophy is going to be different. The eye on the field, when Ben Johnson would call one thing because he saw something here, or their defensive coordinator, their vision is a large factor of how well this offense and that defense works. Now we have a whole bunch of fucking Ferraris on the field with guys that have coming in here that we don't know how well they're going to navigate these fucking super expensive fast toys that they've never fucking had access to before. This is a fucking offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators dream when it comes to Detroit, but all of it's going to be new, all new verbiage. All this stuff is going to take time to gel and create what we saw over the last couple of years out of, for example, their O-line and their offense, their defense, right? Now they've been asked to basically bring in a whole new verbiage. It might all be similar plays, but with this new OC and this new DC call one thing, it's going to be called something else, and it's going to be there's going to be a transitionary period that I guarantee, because they are so talented, they'll probably get through like 95% of it. But those 5% that they don't get through, those are going to be those things that in those key situations, it's going to cause them to make mistakes because they were reverting or whatever, and things aren't going to go as planned, and they're going to maybe drop a game or two, or mistakes are going to come up, and you're going to be like, whoa, that's very not Lion-esque. What's going on here? We got a false start in the first drive of the first game. Like, what's going on here? You know, like, things are going to look very uncharacteristic from time to time because there is so much new in that building. The one thing that's going to be constant is the fact that their head coach Dan Campbell is going to be their rock, their organization, his culture, that his dog fight freaking mentality is going to be the glue. I think there's going to be some moments where teams are going to capitalize, and I think they're going to be shocked. Let me say that. Now, let's move on to the Chicago Bears. Now, Chicago Bears in a little bit of the same thing, right? Now, they made a whole bunch of adjustments late last year, and they brought in some pieces in the O-line and shuffled things around, and they showed some real potential. Let's be real. Caleb Williams showed some flashes and some incredible scrambles, you know, very Russell Wilson-esque at times, but it ended up being a very so-so mediocre, the type of season that you would expect from a team that is slightly above average in roster. When you look at the pieces, let's be real, they had a lot. They did some moves in the offseason going into last year, which made a lot of people they made a lot of idiots like fucking Nick Wright believe that this team was going to be a fucking 15-win team, right? They were blinded by it. Yeah, some of it paid off. Their defense became really, really good. But so where that's going to be a strong point in there this year, because that's going to be very much a lot of the same coming into this year. Their offense is going to be adjusting to Ben Johnson and doing a whole bunch of different things. And that growing pains, those things, the unknown is going to keep them in that learning phase that they're in. I think they got maybe another year or two this year, next year, maybe. Ben Johnson might be that fucking guy and might be able to reduce the amount of time that they stay in this period. But if they would have kept their last coach, they would have been in this period for like 3 years. But Ben Johnson might reduce it a year here, so we'll give them that. But they're not there yet. There's gonna be some getting of the Bears still, right? Which we're gonna definitely do. But there's potential. There's a lot of potential there. Caleb Williams definitely is a skilled thrower of the ball. They've got some good receivers, Roma Dunze, right? They have a really talented defense. They're very vanilla, and they really fucking work hard, and they fucking crash on the ball. They're like high energy. I love the way their defense plays. But yeah, that's just what they are. They're I feel like this team, all these teams are above average when it comes to the NFC in general. Where all 4 of our teams are in the top half of the division, or in that kind of like, maybe the Bears and the Lions are maybe just at the, at the cusp, but yeah, like when it comes to like roster strength and whatnot, but it is what it is with the Bears. So without further ado, let me reveal to you, with all that being said, all the justifications for all these teams. Let me show you guys the NFC standings as of purple and gold bars. Here we go, guys. Now we got something. Now we're fucking cooking here, okay? Let's be real. I stated so many facts over the last fucking however long I've been ranting. 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever the fuck. Oh shit, there are fucking comments. Lefty shit. No, I know. Sorry, I was so zoned in, and I had the media assets up on StreamYard. But yes, thank you for joining me, Lefty. Hell yeah. Let's be real. In my opinion, the Minnesota Vikings have the best roster in the NFL. I think the next best roster is the Detroit Lions, but I think they're going to be stumbling a lot more than people give them credit. So that's why I have them all the way down with the Chicago Bears with 8 wins. Chicago Bears, that's another great season. It could very well be 9-8. It could be 10-7 for the Packers, for sure. It could be 13-4 for the Vikings, or 11-6. Either way, whatever way you want to shake it up, plus or minus 1, Vikings are, in my opinion, are going to have a better season. And this is my prediction right here. Minnesota Vikings finishing with a 12-5 record. Green Bay Packers coming in with a 9-8 record. I think they kind of regressed to the mean, as you could say. The Chicago Bears are going to be doing a good job of kind of improving, but I don't think that Ben Johnson can overcome the Bears organization. I think that's the thing that really holds back a lot of players, as well as coaches and young talent in Chicago within recent history. So that's where I think why I think it's not going to be like immediate, that impact. I think there's going to have to be a lot of incredible freaking wins, and like calculated wins where they beat some of the best teams, even though they don't get the best record, where it shows their ownership. Wow, you know what? Let's give this guy a little bit more leash, and in a year or two, they'll probably can be doing a lot better than this. But the Detroit Lions, I'm going to say it, I think that there's going to be so much going on within their organization, discomfort. There's so much new. There's going to be so many uncharacteristic errors, which are going to cost them games. That's why I have the Detroit Lions falling in last place. I think the way that I had it drawn up, I think they had the lowest wins in the division. The two highest were the Vikings and then Packers, and then Chicago right after, and then Detroit. In my little calibration that I had there, but that's what where we're at. Let's be real. Now, the reasoning why, people are going to be like, oh my gosh, you get the Detroit Lions, the team that last year was supposed to be the fucking Super Bowl fucking champions, as the fourth team in the division winning 8 games. And I'm like, yeah, they could win 7, they could win 9, I don't know. But I just don't think they're going to be doing what people expect of them this year. Expectations were at the highest last year because they had all the fucking Avengers. That all the guys, everybody was healthy until they weren't. Until they fucking broke it. I hope Aiden Hutchinson is recovered well. That fucking injury was crazy. But they were together for so long that they were such a well-oiled machine that when they transitioned to these new coordinators, things, as well as this roster and talent as they are at getting it down, there's going to be moments in high pressure situations where they're going to forget, they're going to hear verbiage, it's going to confuse. Pressure situations are going to cause these moments where they're going to be learning mistakes going forward, right? So that's why I think they're going to stumble this year, and we're going to see the worst performance out of these Detroit Lions, because they have the least consistency out of all these teams. Green Bay's got the second most. Vikings, basically everybody's back. We brought in a couple different players here. We brought back Adam Thielen. We still have a Hall of Famer on defense, one of the best defensive coordinators in the league. We have a generational talent, arguably the best wide receiving room in the whole freaking league, as well as the best quarterback room in the whole league, just because of our leader KOC, right? There's just so much, and when you tally it all up, that's what I see. So that is the NFC North standings right here, coming in with Minnesota first, Green Bay second, Chicago Bears eking out the third place because they have just one more win, I believe, than Detroit does in the division. So I want to move on because I want to talk some bold predictions before we wrap up. Now, the first prediction, I think I basically already gave it away, but I'm still going to say it because it is what it is. The Lions will be lucky to win 10 games this season. I just think there's just too much for them to overcome. It's that simple, right? The second bold prediction, the New England Patriots and the New York Giants are going to turn a lot of heads this year and look way better than people gave them credit. Now, I don't know what that's going to transition like into wins, but what I've seen, because I spent a lot of time watching like a lot of the camp stuff and everything, and some of the breakdowns from mini camps and the preseason games, it seems like they're prime to do something pretty good. You got the Giants with I know they don't have like all the security at quarterback and everything, but they have a really good number one receiver that's going to be looking a lot better this year. They still have an incredible pass rush and defense, right? That's gotten better, right? They've matured, and there was a lot of lessons learned for those Giants last year. That's why I think they're going to be better. They're just through learning from last year's mistake, they're going to be better. And then the Patriots, I think they're going to have a much better season this year because of the new coach that they have, Mike Vrabel. And that alone, I think, is going to be the difference maker, because look what he did in Tennessee, right? He left New England. He's from the New England family, so you can maybe bring in some of that era or whatever, that comfort. They're looking for comfort there because Gerard Mayo, right, was a tight end for them, right? So they're looking for something comfortable, somebody that can help them through this era with Drake May and kind of hopefully breathe some fire into this team. And he's got the history there, and so hopefully he's comfortable to them, and his ways and his methods kind of sit well with the organization, and players respond to him. So I think that's a big reason why they're going to be a lot better this year than they were last year. So that was my second bold prediction. My third bold prediction, I'm going to put them up on the screen once I'm done, so because I have them all on one. But my third bold prediction is that the top two defenses in the NFL this year fucking sit fucking down. If you're not fucking ready for this, let me tell you. In no particular order, okay? But these two are going to fall 1 and 2, whichever which way it may go, okay? The Denver Broncos and the Minnesota Vikings. One, I am making a prediction based on what I see and in comparison to all the up-and-coming defenses. That's why I went with the Broncos. I think they're going to make a very big leap because they made such a huge leap last year. And we're all fucking borderline elite, if not elite, by some people's metrics, right? Stats might even say, because they were fucking good. They were up there. I remember consistently looking at the rankings and being like, fucking Broncos are right here with us. Like, Jesus Christ. Sean Payton knows his defense, I guess. But anyways, that's no here nor there. But that's why I think they're going to take a massive leap this year, because that's what I saw. I saw that recently. The last time I saw that, in most recent history, is when Brian Flores took over. When Brian Flores took over, we were predicted to be the 28th or 29th ranked defense that year. And in that year, we ended up finishing like somewhere like 15th, 16th, 17th. I can't remember correctly, but a hell of a lot better than we were projected. We basically doubled our expectation. And that is solely because of the genius of B-Flow's fucking scheme, as well as the talent that he was able to kind of the year one, it was just scheme and just him and the brainchild, right? So that's why I think, and then we saw him do the same and make a huge leap. So I think this year, this offseason, these things that they're going to be doing in preparation is going to only make this defense better. And I think they're going to take the biggest leap in comparison to all the good defense of last year, as that's what I kind of put down and put like, what are they going to be the best? So, and then I think our Minnesota Vikings are going to have the top defense in the league, if not one or two. I did say in no particular order, but either way, the cat's out of the bag. Because as well of a jump as he did in year one, in year two, he made the same thing and became a top 10 defense. Right? Some might even say top 7, which is pretty freaking good when you were like top 17 the year before. So, like I said, this year, he's going to continue he kept the pieces that he wanted, right? We didn't have a lot of mobility there, right? And we brought in some new young guys, and we've got like guys that are like Dallas Turner that are primed to break out. There's a reason why we're moving guys that I'm thinking, wait. Wasn't key like role player in our pass rush last year and we're just gonna let him go, and you end up signing him on the waiver. I forget his name right now; it's eluding me. But either way, I believe in Brian Flores and his ability to draw it up. So that's why I think the top two defense are the Broncos and the Vikings. And last but not least, the final reveal, sir. Coach Vrabel is going to be the coach of the year. Like I said, I don't know what it is. It's a combination of tape, intuition, the quality of coach that they brought in, the history that he has. I don't know. I just feel like that's going to gel really quick, and that's going to yield some really quick results. I don't think they're going to be like competing for the AFC, nor like the top of the AFC. But considering last year what they were like bottom of the barrel, if they jump up like freaking from like 27th or 25th or whenever they were and come up to like fucking 15, 12, 13, 14, that's going to be fucking stunning because it's going to be drastic. They're going to look like a totally different. I think we're going to have a lot more poise. I think a lot of these players that have already been there and have experienced Belichick and all this stuff, I think it's going to work. So don't at me, but those are my bold predictions for the 2025 season. I don't think I'm being facetious when it comes to these predictions here. I think they're quite bold, and hopefully they come true. I think the predictions are not really bold. I feel like the thing with the Viking, I think what I feel like, oh my, I can't even speak. I feel like this prediction doesn't feel bold at all. I feel like it feels realistic. So it is what it is. 1 through 4 right here. But now I want to start with the first ever power rankings, and we're going to work on that together. I have a tier list. Share. A tier list maker. And I have the NFC teams on the top side and the AFC teams on the bottom. So I couldn't find a conference split or anything like that, and I was just unbothered to try to figure out how to change these anyway. So this is how we're going to do it. So I made sure that we have all the NFC teams in the S tier because they're better, and then the AFC in the B tier because they suck. But they don't really matter. It's irrelevant. So we're going to move the playoff teams from each division into A slot and C slot. So we have 14 teams that go into the NFC or go into the playoffs next year. So I want to start by picking out the teams that I think are going to make the NFC. And I think we can already just be nice and safe and put the Minnesota Vikings there. We already saw that I have them in at 12 wins. A 12-win record is definitely a playoff team. I'm hoping that we're a divisional round team, and hopefully we do a little better this year. Ended up there is where we start. We don't got to start in the wild card. Fingers crossed. Now, when it comes to the NFC, we need to find 6 more teams. And the first thing that I want to look at are teams that have the most consistency, the most returning players, coaching staff, things like that. The teams that have the least amount affected in their rosters. So right off the bat, I can see the Eagles are up there. The Bucks are up there. Now, this is where it starts to get crazy because these are like the easy ones that I'm thinking of right off the bat, right? Baker Mayfield should be moving up and impressing, kind of doing his slight progression because he's a small little increments guy, so he's going to get slightly better this year. And I think the Bucks as well. I don't see regression in their field. So I think these three are safe picks. So we need 4 more. Frick my doodle. Okay. This is where it gets really freaking hard because we have a lot of things that make teams up in the air. We got some instability when we got to when we talk about the Washington Commanders. We got Scary Terry calling for a trade, right? And we know Deebo Samuels is there. So is it a thing of Deebo Samuels rubbing him too the long way? Can they not play well together? What's going on? Is it an indication of turmoil under the hood, or is it just Scary Terry's like, well, I don't want to be number 2, and I just want another opportunity. Maybe it's just a straight business situation there. We don't know, but there is, but for the most part, pretty stable. Seahawks, same sort of situation. A lot of things are the same. I know Metcalf's gone, but they got Jackson Ningba or whatever, the new guy with the weird last name that is JSX or whatever, JSP or whatever. Buddy's lights out regardless. So they have a little bit of there, and they're bringing in Sam Darnold. And I think that there's some stability in comparison to other teams. Like, let's look at guys like the Saints, right? Instability. I see Falcons, instability. Panthers, instability. Although did the Panthers change it? No, they can't. But they're still raw is a very kind way of saying it. The Cowboys, same thing, right? The Cowboys are also really unstable right now. So I'm not just gonna like, oh, here we go, put them down in the playoff tier, right? We got the Lions, they got a top tier roster, but there's a lot of instability in their offensive quarter and their OC and DC. And a lot of that change I think is going to affect them. That's why my bold predictions. The Rams are very stable, although even though they're who's their backup right now? Do they have a stable backup? Because, if Stafford goes down, that's the season, right? Green Bay is another team that's up there in kind of like they're more stable in comparison to some of these dumpster fires down here, right? San Fran looks to move away from being a surprise dumpster fire last year to kind of reasserting some of their dominance. So I don't know, can we give them a straight playoff position? The New York Giants, I think, are going to take a step, but I don't think they're going to be like freaking like that yet. Holy frick, this is hard. It's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. So out of all this, the most stable out of the teams that have some moderate to major instability, I'm feeling the Seahawks and the Commanders. So that gives us 5. 2 more teams. So let's rule those guys out. Are we at a point of equal instability yet? Is there teams here that stand apart? I think for stability wise, the strongest 2 teams are the Packers and the fucking Rams. Okay, so when it comes to instability, out of all the remaining teams, we got 1, 2, 3. Do we throw San Fran's got a little bit of respect? I think Brock Purdy might be out to prove something. That might be slept on. That might give them an extra win or 2, maybe 1 extra win before people start giving them any credit. Fuck, this is hard. Okay. Out of all these teams, let's go barring no injury, because that makes okay. So barring no injury for the less teams that have like not like injury concerns, but like changes at OC, like massive changes. LA and Green Bay? Fuck. LA and San Fran? LA and New York? That would be a stretch. I feel like it's a fucking toss-up here. I think it's a coin flip. One of these, they're out. Let's just cross this guy out. They're out. So out of New York, San Fran, Green Bay, and the and the Lions. Thank you, Paul. Jackson, Smith, and Jigma. JSN! PSN. That's how I was trying to remember it last year. PlayStation Network, JSN, PSN, JSN. I'll fucking thank you. Thank you, fucking Paul. Not that you're thank you, Paul. There was no pause in between those two statements. Sorry. Thank you, Paul. Fuck. Okay. See, because remember, all the teams in my division could, like I said, could all win one more game. So if the Packers win an extra game, they got 10 wins in the season. That puts them there. San Fran is in the same, in my mind, San Fran. They can freaking light it up and win 11 games and prove people wrong. And Brock Purdy might look like the guy again. We're going to be like, oh shit, actually Brock Purdy's fucking good. But at the same time, he's lost a whole bunch of pieces, and all the narratives might be true, and they might fucking win 8 or 9 games, and they might miss the playoffs. The fucking Green Bay Packers. I think Jordan Love's gonna fucking struggle this year. Like, he's struggled quite a bit. I think he's gonna be. I think he needs. There's something. I need to find a way to say this. There's something in the way that he gunslings that's not calibrated quite right. Right? We've seen a ton of fucking gunslingers in our time, namely Brett Favre, right? And there are times where Brett Favre would never take a shot in some of these situations. Sometimes he would. That fucking crossbody in the title, in that fucking game. But for the most part, like 99, 97, 93 times out of 100, Brett Favre, when taking a fucking shot, threading the needle, he threw like really good, like for a fucking taking a shot. It was the type of shot you want to take if you're going to take a shot. If that makes any sense. So it's not like, in theory, it's not a terrible throw, but according to his progression and whatever logical football should say, oh, the better, analytical pass should have been to the flat here. But he takes the shot and it's a decent, right? So that's what I mean. Jordan Love is a fucking moron when it comes to this situation, because that's what I say, he's not calibrated right. Because there are times in games when casual football players and guys have been watching for like 15 plus years, like I have, we look at it and we're like, don't throw that, don't throw it. And he fucking throws off the back foot in situations where it's like, bro, you still had it down. Bro, what are you doing? Like head scratchers where Brett Favre wouldn't do that in that situation. He would do that in that situation if it was a 4th down and he was going to lose the possession anyways, and then he'd throw that type of ball. He wouldn't throw it on 3rd down because he thinks, he would still fucking make the quarterback decision as well. Like, that's the difference between a really good fucking gunslinger and a bad gunslinger like fucking Jordan Love. So that's why I struggle with the Packers. So to me, they're like fucking neck and neck. And then we look at the Lions. Although their fucking their roster is by far outside of the Vikings and the Eagles, the fucking top 3 fucking roster on paper, right? But they have a new OC, they have a new DC, and shit's not gonna fucking be perfect from the get-go. And they're gonna have like 93% of it down. But that 7% or that 4% or whatever it is that you can't iron out before the season starts is gonna be what's gonna cause them some fucking head scratcher fucking penalties, fucking turnovers and losses this year that are going to leave people wondering what the fuck happened. Was Ben Johnson the actual magic to their fucking sauce? You know, that's what I think. So to me, these three teams right here, the Lions, the Packers, and San Fran, are basically in the running. They're cool running to me. But then we got the fucking New York Giants. That to me, I think maybe I'm a little biased, because the reasons why I think that the Giants are going to do better this year than they did and they're going to take a bigger leap than people give credit is because they remind me of the team that we were before KOC came in, and at other times in the past that I've watched this Minnesota Vikings team, where right before our Purple Rain defense with fucking Mike Zimmer emerged, you could see like, oh fuck, this defense is going to be fucking good when they figure it out. It's going to be something to freaking reckon with. Like Xavier Rhodes, like he could be a premier shutdown corner and might end up actually, if he can sustain it for a long time, he might freaking go down as one of the, no, he couldn't, but it looked like that when he was emerging in that year too. When and the thing is that during that exact same year, there were so many boneheaded fucking plays where we were like, holy shit, this defense looked bad. How did we miscommunicate that bad? Because they were young. And fucking the Giants feel like that to me, if that makes sense to you guys. I feel like they took a lot of lumps last year. I feel like they've addressed a lot of things in the offseason. I know they have. This is why they're part of my bold prediction as one of the two teams that are going to come out of nowhere and look way better than anybody gives credit. That's part of my bold prediction. So this is why I think the way that I do. So you could throw them in there. They could win fucking 9 games. And it could be fucking down to a 9-game or 10-game fucking season from, by my fucking calculations, for the last fucking spot. So when I think about it, who do I throw in there? Do we give the nod to the Lions because they're the Lions? I didn't make that mistake last year. I sure as hell didn't. There are so many fucking streams from last year that you can go back and look. I was definitely one of the ones, and you can check out the live stream at the very end of the year when we debated with Lions fans, and I clearly stated exactly what I'm stating now, and I wasn't sold. Like I said, at the time I said, bro, we have basically the same quarterback, except for your quarterback is like 2 years ahead of ours. You forget that fucking he was almost considered a draft bust, and he was thrown away to the garbage because fucking the Rams thought they couldn't fucking win with him. And then he came to you guys, and because he had a level of discipline and stability at that position, it allowed you guys to focus everywhere else and become really good everywhere else. But at the very end, he's still fucking a guy that could fucking fall apart at any fucking moment, just like Sam Darnold could be. And guess what the fuck happened? Guess what the fuck happened? Exactly what I said would happen. That happened. I was like, they're not going to win. I'm like, I'll be surprised if they make it past the fucking. I was like, I'll be surprised if they make it 2 and if they make it past the NFC title game. And what happened? So I'll leave it there. So do we give them the benefit of the doubt? I don't want to give them the benefit because people gave them the benefit of the doubt last year and people fucked up. I'm more likely to give the benefit of the doubt to fucking Kyle Shanahan out of all these. Oh, you know what? Brian Daboll over. I'm more likely to give the fucking benefit of the doubt to the San Francisco 49ers. I think I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to fucking do it. These are my fucking playoff teams for the NFC North. In no particular order, the first 3 teams, in my opinion, are the most stable teams when it comes to new acquisitions, additions to the roster, additions to coaching staff. Like with our I know with our coaching staff, we didn't freaking turn anything up, right? So we basically have the same everything, right? So we're basically stable. And we brought in some nice guys, and we got some emerging players like Dallas Turner. Oh my God, Dallas Turner is going to be so fucking good this year. The New York Eagles, the Philadelphia Eagles are in a very similar position. They're a pretty fucking good program, a very strong roster. Saquon Barkley is the ultimate fucking weapon, mistake eraser, whatever you want to fucking call him. He's generational. So when you got a generational player, you got to be up in the top echelon among us great teams like the Minnesota Vikings. Then we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because they don't have a ton of crazy shuffling like that. I expect just some small increments out of them. They might be more like, it might, after said and done, it might end up being something more like this. You know what I mean? Like it might end up being like this. No, you know what? If we have to play the last game and we win 13, because I give the 13 wins only if we have to play the last game. I feel like we're going to sit the fucking, because we're going to have won the division. There's not going to be enough. It's not going to be a meaningful game. So I have them losing that extra game, but if we do win it, we might be here, but we'll put it here. I feel like they're going to win like 13, 14. Right? And then it just goes down from there, right? So look at that. It basically arranges itself right there. These are basically the same. If Matthew Stafford, man, if they land Micah Parsons, man, and Aaron Donald comes out of fucking retirement, although Aaron Donald's not going to be Aaron Donald until late in the season, when it comes to his fucking everything, they might fucking be something crazy to watch out for. But I really like Jaden Daniels. I think his work ethic, his tremendous work ethic, and the stability that he's going to bring to this organization is going to help overcome some of this adversity. I think Sam Darnold is a great acquisition for the Seattle Seahawks. I think they're not going to stumble. They're going to basically have a very, very similar production as last year. What they won 12 games last year, 13 games last year. Something like that. Either way, Bucks were up there too. They were a playoff team, so I feel like they're going to have a little increment. And then we're going to slide in the up-and-comers, the guys that are going to sneak past the rest and win that extra game, or maybe even sneak in by a tiebreaker, the San Francisco 49ers. Good golly. Oof. That's going to be a fucking hell of a division. All right, let's move on to the AFC. So let's move on the freaking teams that are just gimmies, that have the most consistency. I think we end up with three. Now, with a lot of the same metrics, and you know what? I think we could put the Bengals in there. Although they have their kind of thing, they're just consistently mediocre and cheap. You know what I mean? The Bengals are just, that's the team. Like, that's the one thing you can always count on when it comes to the Bengals. They're cheap because they have out of all the owners, he's the least wealthiest, which is for a 100 millionaire, whatever the fuck it is, or billionaire, almost billionaire, whatever it is. He's the least wealthiest. So I know that he invests historically the least in his team, which is why they cut players, they let players go just to be cheap, right? So, but for the most part, a lot of it's going to be the same. They still got Jamar Chase there. They still got freaking Joe Burrow, right? Like, they're generational talents on offense, right? So they're still going to be blowing people out that can't keep up with them. So that alone is going to put them up past a lot of teams. So I think they're probably a little bit more consistent to the rest of these teams. When it comes after that, once we move down a tier, when we look at teams that are going to be pretty consistent or might be doing a lot better, I think the Texans are going to be better or be more consistent. They're going to have a lot less like adversity or like just things shooken up in the offseason. I think they're going to be back. I think they're going to take a step back to where they were. I think the Broncos are also going to be maybe not better than they were, but they're going to keep pace to what they've been doing. So, and they're kind of consistent there. There's not crazy changes there. It's not like they're bringing in a new head coach or coordinators, right? When we look at consistency, that leaves the Chargers, right? So if we look at it, Chargers, Broncos, Texans, the Dolphins. A lot of people are talking about the regression of Tyreek Hill going to be a huge thing this year. Wait, did he get traded? No, he didn't go back to Kansas City. Wait a second. No, he's still with. Hold on, there's so much in my head right now. Was that a speculation trade that I'm thinking of, or was that an actual trade? Because there's so many fucking YouTubers and fucking articles that I read, and it's like they speculate about this shit. And they were talking about him going back to KC, maybe, or did he get? No. Either way, regardless, I just don't think they are going to be as consistent as these three teams. Let's be real. Jim Harbaugh is breeding consistency. He's going to take a small step forward, took a big chunk last year, but the method that he's doing, we know anybody that was born like fucking 80s or 1989 and below is going to know like the drill sergeant mentality and way that our freaking coaches used to freaking talk to us in Little League and all this shit. There's a lot different. When I go see my nephews that are like 8 years old, their coaches are like the complete opposite of what we got when we were young. We got drill sergeants telling us to do better, to do drills, and they were hard on us. And we loved that. Let me tell you. But nowadays, these kids are coddled. Let's be real. So, it is what it is. So because of that, we know that progress is going to be very strategic. Like that method breeds a consistent year-over-year growth that's not going to be crazy highs and it's not going to be crazy lows. It's just going to be a consistent climb. It's going to be like that a really secure stock that just like is just going to grow. It's not you know what I mean? Like that's the example. And over the next couple of years, we're going to see them emerge. So, and they did pretty fucking good last year already. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. So I think these three teams I think they kind of just stands too far ahead of the Dolphins because I can't in good conscience, even though I think that Coach Vrabel is going to be the coach of the year. And I think the New England Patriots are going to make a huge jump. I can't in good faith put them ahead of the Dolphins. And I can't in good faith put the Dolphins ahead of any of these three teams. Let's be real. The Jets are going to be a dumpster fire. The Browns are always going to be the Browns. As good as that defense is, they're just a fucking mess. Let's be real. The Steelers. Oh, this is another bold take. I totally forgot about this bold take. Holy shit. Live as we hear it right now, I have another bold take for you guys. The Steelers are going to have their first losing season in Mike Tomlin's tenure. Because I forget how long he's been there. Yeah, I don't want to be wrong and get fact checked and be like, factually, he's been there for 13 and a half years and you said 12. So he's been there a fucking long time either way, but he's always had a winning record, right? So it's a hell of a feat that he's had. But I think this year's the year. Although they could be, the defense is fucking good though. Still, I just have a feeling. But you know what? With the set, with going with consistency, I think they're a step ahead of the Chargers. Now that I think about it. Hold on. Let me analyze and throw all the data into this fucking computer that I have and fucking figure it out. If you carry the 2-1. Yeah, no. I think by a little bit, I think the Steelers would edge even the progression that the Chargers are going to have this year. I feel like they'll be a better overall team. I just don't think they're going to be there this year. There you have it, guys. Now, now let's go look at the. So with the NFC North, these two teams are kind of interchangeable, right? With the AFC, these three teams are basically interchangeable. I would not be surprised if any one of these teams were the best team in the AFC at the end of the year. I don't think anybody else would. I don't think anybody would be surprised if the Bengals came out here and had a lot better luck this year and won and put a lot more W's than people think they're going to do. The Texans, I think they're going to right the ship. They have a lot of consistency. A lot of the same things are going to be the same. They got CJ Stroud, the Strouds, of course, right? The Strouds might come back, right? It might not be the Texans like last year. It might just be, we might see the re-emergence of the Strouds, and that's what I think. The Denver Broncos, I just think that you can't have, as much as I dislike Sean Payton, this is how you can tell that I really try to be as objective as possible, because I really dislike some of these teams that I'm putting as high as I am, but I still put them there because they deserve to be there, objectively speaking. And when I do, and after I do my calculations, of course, because I try to be as objective as possible and then put my calculations in there for my prediction. So I don't think anybody's going to be upset or surprised that these guys make a stride. I think the Denver Broncos defense is going to be one of the best in the league, and then the Steelers are going to be just there at the bottom. So there we go. We're gonna say that is the. Let's move these out of here. So let's get rid of all these extra teams. Now that we have our two teams, our playoff teams, let's do our first of the season power rankings, boys. We'll finish off strong. So we got to start putting these in order now. Holy fuck. We're going to put these in order? Fuck. This is actually really hard. Now, let me talk it out, because I think Super Bowl champions and their roster, Saquon Barkley, I have, as much as I fucking hate this team and I want to say they're going to fucking be bad this year, I can't fucking say it. They have too much fucking of the same shit going. Nothing's going to really change. They're going to be same old Eagles. Fucking Super Bowl champion Eagles. Fucking crazy. So I can't fucking, so they're going to be up there. They're going to be interchangeable in the top, right? So we got to get these top 5 out of the way. Now, when it comes to the Eagles, we can go, I'm going to put those equal. Now, if I want to put them equal with these, Derrick Henry, I really think that this is actually the way, even though I say these are interchangeable, I think this is the way it's gonna fall out when it comes to these three in the order. But we need to make rankings of who's going to look the most dominant week 1. There it is. There's the top 5 right there. That's it. There we have it, ladies and gentlemen. I made some quick maths in my head. 2 + 2, okay, equals 1 through 5. The Ravens are going to be fucking really freaking rip-roaring this season. They have, they're you can tell they are like, they're going to be coming out of the gates like a demon possessed. Like, I'm telling you, this team is going to be freaking aggressive this year. They're not holding back. This is they feel like this is their year, and I feel like they feel disrespected that it's taken this long, honestly. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them in the slightest. They have a top 5 quarterback. They have a top 5 running back. Fucking great defense, great fucking offense, great they got a lot of they have a lot. They have fucking a lot. So I think they're going to be up there. So Eagles are going to look freaking really good. First game as well. The same old Eagles. I don't think we're going to be seeing any Saquon Barkley reverse hurdles anytime soon or ever again. Let's be real. But he's going to be doing some special things and busting out some incredibly long runs like he always does. We're going to see some miraculous stuff from Josh Allen straight off the bat. I think Josh Allen, he's going to be coming out this year because when I think of Josh Allen and over the last couple of years, I feel like he's been like consistently improving the way that he looks at the game on top of his performance, because you can see he's been working super hard at his performance. The way that he's become more agile, his decision making, a lot of things. His arm talent is he's worked on so many things. Jordan Palmer was a huge part of that, right? In that development. So he's worked really, really hard. And I think that's still a very big focus to him. And I feel like it irks him that a lot of people will not give him the benefit of the doubt if the situation feels like it's, in theory, a 50-50 situation. For example, if he's facing any one of these top 5 teams, depending on the analyst, I feel like a lot of people will take will take shots at those points because it feels like, you know what I mean? So I feel like he's focused on continuing to improve that way. And he's consistently done that in his career. That's why I think he's going to be looking dangerous and looking to have a hot start and hold it for as long as he can. I wouldn't be surprised if they went undefeated for quite a while. The Vikings, I think we have a lot to prove. I think we're going to come out swinging right off the bat. Last year, when nobody gave us credit with essentially the same squad that we have, outside of like the new quarterback and a couple younger players that are moving up and an acquisition of an old veteran like Adam Thielen, but essentially we're the same top 3 roster in the league, top 2. I think that we're going to come out swinging and try to make an example of whoever we face, which is going to be the Chicago Bears. And I feel like they're going to be struggling a little bit. And I don't think they're going to be up to par or ready for this week 1 blitz that we got planned. That is my just gut feeling based on the situation that we have. I think it's going to take this whole season for Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson to kind of hit that stride. I feel like those last 3 games, when people are last 3-4 games, they're going to be like, whoa, where was this team this entire season? Right? So I think their time is coming, but just not just yet. So I think we're going to make an example of them. In Kansas City always seems to freaking win in that first game of the season when people think they're going to lose and it looks like they're going to lose. And a lot of people have a lot of theories to why they win those games. I don't know why. But anyways, that brings us to the top 5 right there. So 1 through 5. Now, when we look at the rest of the NFL, which teams stand out of here, would you say? Injuries not being a concern. For me, I feel like there's 4, and I think I might be able to argue for a 5th here in the next bracket. Let me bring them down here. These are the teams in no particular order that I think are the next to be. In which order, I don't know. Out of all these, I think probably the Seahawks are the weakest. Yeah, actually, you know what? This might actually look good. And I might have accidentally put it in the right place. Because if I look at it, right, the most experience and potentially the most potential, because if they pick up Mike Parsons, right, Aaron Donald comes out of retirement by the end of the season and going into the playoffs, that guy might be 100% again and might be the Aaron Donald that we know, right? So that gives me a reason to put them as high, but not, I wouldn't put them any further than 6. Jaden Daniels, I freaking believe in Jaden Daniels. But what do I believe is more probable? That they're going to land Micah Parsons, or that Jaden Daniels is going to be better this year than he was last year, and therefore the Washington Command. I think I just answered my question. There we go. And then these 3 prove it teams are going to go next. So we got the Washington Commanders, the LA Rams, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Houston Texans, and then rounding up off the top 10, we have the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I think this kind of makes it a little bit easy when it comes to the last 4 teams. I think you could probably, I think you could argue which way. Well, Baker Mayfield's 1 year ahead of the Broncos, so their experience, you know what, actually I just actually mocking my decision, my original decision of having the Broncos, because I really think that defense is going to be fucking good. Baker Mayfield in that organization, I think are just going to have the edge. Actually, going to slip just on by. So here it is. Here we go, rounding off the top 14 teams in the NFL. We have the Bucks, the Broncos, the Steelers, and the fucking 49ers. So that is all the playoff teams ranked. Now, let's throw these teams back up here, okay? Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. We need to do a full power rankings here. We are not going to half-ass the first one. I know during the season we mostly focus on the top. I think this year we're going to focus on the top because doing all 32. Oh no, I did it in brackets. The bottom of the barrel, I just kind of like, yeah, we'll do it the same way. Actually, we're going to do it the same way when I do the power rankings this year. So when it comes to these next teams, let's do some organization here. Who's just going to be objectively bad? Oh, who's going to be objectively bad? Who's going to be... We'll give them the benefit. Are these guys, any of these teams going to be objectively bad? Objectively. Like, they're going to be mediocre, but they're not going to be fucking good. They're going to be great. Maybe people will say potential or whatever, injury, whatever, transition, whatever they say. But I don't think any. Okay, so out of these teams, I'll probably go here. I probably go like this. So the mid-tier, the up-and-comers, the guys that are either on the way down or on the way up or holding pattern and trying to recuperate what they once had. We got these guys coming in at 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, from 15 through 23. And then we got the bottom of the barrel. We'll still organize these because there's merit to doing so. The bottom of the barrel, bottom of the barrel, bottom of the barrel, bottom of the barrel, bottom Here we go. I like this. I believe in you, Spencer Rattler. Way more than some of these other guys. Okay, so here we go. The bottom of the barrel. There you have it. The last teams, 23-32. Cowboys rounding in the top of the bottom of the barrel. And the Indianapolis Colts, I think, are going to be the worst team in the league this year. Followed closely by a rebuilding Titans team. A delusional Jets team that was trying to make something happen that's going to end up rebuilding. Same thing with the fucking Jags and the fucking Falcons. And then these guys just, they have some stuff that they got enough stuff that they could steal some games and get above these guys. So that's why they top they're the cream of the crop of the bad guys. You know what I mean? So there you have it, guys. So those are my power rankings. And I hope you guys enjoyed the whole live. I hope you guys enjoyed my bold takes, my predictions. Real quickly, let's go back and let's check out our NFC North standings. We have the Vikings coming in at first, the Packers in second, the Bears in third, the Lions in fourth. I can't speak today. I got too much Vikings on my mind. So we got the Vikings in first, the Packers in second, the Bears in third, the Lions in fourth. That's how she's going to be. And these are the record predictions by my standards here. And then let's move on to my bold predictions. We got the Lions are going to be lucky to win 10 games this season. New England and New York Giants are going to turn heads and be a lot better than people give them credit. I think people are going to be thinking they're going to be like bottom 3 or bottom 5, but they're going to be closely right there in the middle. A lot higher than you guys gave them credit. The top 2 defenses in the league are going to be the Minnesota Vikings and the Broncos in no particular order. And then the coach of the year is going to be Mike Vrabel of the New England Patriots. And then, what was the... I just had I forgot the one that I just remembered. What was it again? God damn it. I forgot already. But rewind. But I thought there was something that I fucking totally forgot right now. And, oh yeah, Mike Tomlin is going to have his first losing season of his career. There we go. There we have it, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on the Purple and Gold Bars channel. I'll see you guys on the next one. I hope you guys are coming to Old Skull Fest. Join us there. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that like button on the way out. And I'll see you guys at home opener for those of you guys that are local and are going to the game, and at Skull Fest if you guys attend. And the rumor has it, I might be in Detroit for that Detroit Vikings game. I think I'm going to make a road trip out of it since it is about an hour's away, and I was able to. I'll tell you guys later as the season goes on. But that's what it is. Skull Vikings, baby. I'll see you guys on the next live. Take care.